Да. Видите?
Вижу.
Ага, все отлично. Hello to everyone who chose to be with us tonight, today. And today our guest is Irina. She's our Russian language teacher, and she's giving lessons to several of our clients already, or our students. And today we talk about how to learn Russian, how to study Russian effectively, quickly, as we often hear from our clients. And she will tell about it. And also, please write your questions in chat as usually. And after she finishes what she just prepared for you, then she will answer your questions. So, Irina, tell us please how to study Russian quickly and effectively.
Good afternoon, Elena. I'm glad to see you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Irina, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce you in more details. Can you tell about yourself more?
For me to be here. Elena, are you here?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Something is with connection. I don't understand my connection or yours. What happens?
I don't know, because your image was frozen for some time, and now I hear you and see you. But before you were frozen.
You disappeared first. Seconds. Was I heard and seen good?
Now I hear you and see you.
Okay. If something is wrong, please type me if it is possible for me to understand. Okay.
Yes, Irina, and tell please more about yourself, because I didn't tell much about you now. Can you introduce yourself in more details than I just told?
Yes, of course. My name is Irina. I'm a professional linguist. In languages, I'm for home of my life. I have studied in my life English, ancient Greek, modern Greek, Latin, Spanish, French, and German. In my childhood, in my school, in high school, and then I went to University of Foreign Languages in Kiev. So I understand how a language is made, how does it work. And some years ago, I was interested about a language, how we pronounce, how we make phrases, how the language is made in our brain. So at that time, I understood that a language itself is really more than just words and just letters. Every language differs from another, and is always a part of the culture, and is produced by our brain. And speech is even more than communication between people. Every language is a logical system which grows inside the culture. And the human speech is to organize our consciousness. And it is always a part of cultural surrounding. The behavior of people from different countries are different, and attention to different things, and these things always are seen and produces in our speech. We always should remember that every culture has its own specific history, traditions, and way of thinking. And it is always represented in the language. So we can say that learning languages, we always learn a culture and another way of thinking of another people, of another culture, country. And it is always training for our brain in the first.
Especially, I think I just thought about other languages such as Arab language, Chinese language. They think in completely different way, and their language is also completely different from such as English, German, and so on. Correct?
Yeah, it is completely different, and the difference starts from the alphabet first. But at the same time, even when we have the same alphabet, languages and the way of thinking is different even in that case when we have the same alphabet. For example, English and Spanish are very different. It is shown in the character of music, art. It is represented in art, we can say, and in literature.
So, Irina, the most practical question is interesting for many of our followers, probably, how to study Russian quickly, how to do it, because many men now they are starting to travel and they are going to visit Ukraine, and when they apply to us, they often say that I'm studying Russian. I hope to speak some Russian by my visit, and it's interesting how much time they should devote to this, to speak Russian to some extent, maybe beginner level.
Traditionally, basic level takes approximately 60 hours of learning. From the very first letter and till the level when a person knows and can easily use basic grammatical constructions, easy words, easy phrases he can make, and speak basically about appearance, about weather, about time. He knows numbers. He knows how to talk about food, how to ask some direction about city, about nationality, about this basic things. Person can speak with some of his friends or with new people.
So 60 hours, and what are the methods to study it effectively, as I told? Is it better to practice to study Russian each day for 30 minutes or 2 times per week for 2 hours? What is better approach to this?
The language, learning language consists of a lot of parts. For example, listening, reading, speaking, then reading, speaking, recognizing skills. When we see a text, we can recognize it. How many time one should spend a day? That depends on the character of a person. For example, for some people, it is very good to learn 20 hours twice a day, for example. For some people, it is very good, and they can take this information. It is possible to have 1 hour a day every day, or 1 hour and a half a day. So that depends on the person, on its character, on the brain possibilities to take and transform new information, and to start using it.
But when also Solomon asks us how you studied languages, and he also asked how long did it take Irina to learn all these languages. So when you was studying, you were studying languages. Which approach did you use in your own life?
The problem I think is I started languages not with my own wish. Just my parents thanks them a lot. They gave me to children garden. I think this word is. So since I think 4 years, I hear English language, for example. When I started to improve it, I just understood that I have some topics that are interested me a lot. So I just started to read about the topics, to watch some video from movies. So in that way, I improved. When I was doing it by myself.
I see.
And by the way, the best variant and the best we can do at the beginning of studying language, new language, is to put ourselves in the sphere. For example, in the country, to surround us with the language, to see a lot of videos, just not to even understand what is said, but just to recognize the language and to differentiate it one from another. For example, to understand, this is Russian, for example, language, and this is Ukrainian, and they are very different. So if we want to learn some language, we should hear a lot, listen a lot to the speech, even if we don't understand what it said. Music, culture, to read everything that is connected to that sphere of interest. That's the best way.
I understand. Okay, so someone asks also, which does Irina recommend any particular apps or websites for learning Russian? Do you have some pieces of advice about it, or maybe we can write later?
Particular apps. Actually, I recommend to use a vocabulary.
Usually vocabulary?
Usually vocabulary. Because it's a very old school method, but it is very good for training a brain. It is the first what we do while learning language. Because in the dictionary, we have always a lot of synonymic words. And we have to choose which one do we need. At that time, our brain is training, and we start to understand the difference between the words. I think it's more difficult than some app, but it is more effective in long term.
Irina, I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt you a little bit. For some reason, during this live stream, we have some guests who are leaving rude comments, and I just want to say you that I will block such users, such guests right away. There won't be any chances to join us anymore. So I block you when you say something bad in our chat, like what is the cheapest woman and so on, from the first time. So if you want to talk in a normal way and listen to this live stream and view it, please join. You are welcome. But if you are planning to write rude words, I have to block you. So I don't know why, but for some reason, this live stream, we got several people who are writing rude comments, and I'm surprised actually how they found us.
That happens.
So Irina, let's continue. You can go forward with according to your plan. Irina, are you here?
I should add. Yeah, I'm here. Do you hear?
As for applications, I heard
Do you hear
from
me?
some of our clients that some of them they used Bubbles. It seems Bubble or Bubbles application, and I had it several times already. So I guess it's kind of popular abroad.
Elena?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do you hear me? It's very good. Just checking. I told you about the first step of learning language, about 60 hours. It's the very, very basic for beginners. The full basic level completes about 200 hours of learning language. And it has full basic information. Not just the simplest one, but more complicated for a person who could read easily, for example, news, to hear television, some TV news, and start to understand the movie language. And on this level, a person knows 2,500 words. Its vocabulary is.
So Irina, do you want?
Are there any questions?
Yeah, we have also question about cost of the lessons. I just want to say that we have several packages, and price a little differs from and depends from amount of lessons that you plan to have. But the first meeting with Irina is for free, and when she talks about your goals, understands more about you, which approach to choose, which strategy of learning is more appropriate for you, and after that you plan your first lesson. So if you are interested, you can write your email address, or you can write to our website, and we send you more information about the types of packages for Russian language lessons.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, first talk to know more about person, to know its his purpose, what for does he need the language, and what terms, how much time does he have, and what results does he want to reach in these terms. Because sometimes the expectations are not very realistic. So we have to understand what do we want, what do we have, and how can we reach that, and how much resources do we need for it.
So Irina, if we talk about the approach to learning Russian, or methods to learn it, if you say the list or the short list of how to do it, maybe tell us 5-6 methods, 6 approach to learn language effectively, just one point by one. Can you name several in a more definite way? Because I noticed that men are often seeking for exact information and exact answers for exact questions. So can you name just 6, maybe, or how much you have? I don't know. the most effective approach to learn Russian. So first you told it's constant practice and to surround yourself with this language as much as a person can. So maybe traveling to this country or watching films, listening to radio, music, and so on. What else it can be?
The thing is, if a person surrounds him with everything connected with the new interest, we may say in this case, with a new language, so he will very easily and soon recognize this language.
So what is the second approach, third method, and so on? Let's name different things. What people can do ourselves when they are studying Russian, because not everyone is able to take paid lessons from Russian language teachers. So what they can do themselves without your help, for example, and how they can learn Russian themselves.
How to learn Russian themselves. First variant, to buy a book and to go in academic way, step by step, lesson by lesson.
Do you mean book like for self-study?
Yeah.
Some book for self-study of Russian, for example, yeah?
The second way is to read. To decide which topic about a person likes in his life to read, to know something new, and start from that.
But for reading, a person has to be prepared a little bit to be able to read, yeah, and to understand. Or you mean translation of each word? Because
translation.
When the person is just beginning to learn language, it's difficult to read because the person doesn't know nothing about, doesn't know about pronunciation, doesn't know the translation, doesn't know the grammar. So I'm wondering how he will read.
Certainly with alphabet, it's also reading. The thing is, we accept new information with our eyes, we watch it. With our ears, we listen to. With our mouth, we speak. So to study a language, we should use all this type of information having. Alphabet is the first, of course. Ago, I read about a man who studied himself a new language in 1 month while talking, to be able to talking. And he started from the topic of his interest. Why it is very working? Because a person is interested in something that is connected to his life. It's filled with emotions. So a person wants to know more about it, and he will use more efforts to learn about this in different way. And this different way is another language. For example, it means the dating culture. If a person is interested in dating culture, so he would be interested in this culture in different cultures, in different countries. So for him, it will be naturally interested to know the roots of this culture in each country. So it will be easier and more natural.
Yeah, of course, I agree with you that when person is driven by interest also, and it will be easier for him to go through some obstacles, through some difficulties of learning new language, and it will bring more pleasure, because it's also important to get pleasure while the process to succeed. So what are other methods, Irina?
Listening and watching. For example, movies. It is very working method to watch a lot of movies series. For the first time, a person may just listen this speech like blah 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 blah. In some time, he starts to differentiate some words.
Mm-hmm.
In some times, he started to know these words and to recognize them in different situations.
Mm-hmm.
And in such a way, a person can learn foreign language.
Mm-hmm.
It's working method.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I personally started to speak better English when I only started to work and practice my English with my foreign clients each day. And only then I started to speak English. So I guess it works for most of people, just practicing as much as possible. And I also know that there are some approaches for to make our memory to work better. For example, putting stickers with the new words all around your house in different places and training your memory this way and putting new words into your memory. And we also have some questions from men. Is the first lesson free? That actually not the first lesson, but the session with the teacher, with Irina, to know you, to know about your goals, and to build the strategy how it's better for you to study Russian. Correct, Irina?
Yeah, that's right.
And also, human asks, can I buy them in bulk? Yes, you can, because actually we have packages for different amount of lessons. Also, Daya gives us a good advice. I think you should make the live stream private. I think it's a good idea because for some reason I told you we have people with rude comments this time. I don't know why. Okay, and we don't have questions anymore, so let's continue.
I may put some additional information about how to remember words. About years, for example. The thing is to remember, to really know one word, we should use it up 1,000 times in different situations, in different contexts, with different people. So the most important and the most useful practice is to practice, to speak. For example, when a person knows a new word or a new phrase, it is very good to use it every moment almost. And to name different things. For example, when a person has a list of some household words, just words, and it is very good practice to name everything he has at home with the new words. It is brainstorming practice, but still it is very working and good. Any questions?
Not yet. We don't have a new question, so you can continue if you want.
Yeah. The next thing we wanted to decide and to tell is about some special aspects of Russian language. What differs Russian language from another languages, and what troubles usually face foreigners while starting learning Russian. First is the alphabet. Because there are some letters that are equal to English, but some of them are not. And it usually makes some trouble for the first time, but still students work with it, and actually they succeed in this. For example, in Russian, is letter Z. In English, it doesn't exist. And the letter sh. And the soft sign and the hard sign and the letter U. And sometimes these letters may just explode someone's mind. The next thing about Russian language is that the stress in Russian words, the accent, isn't stable. It may change its position depending on the word form even. One word in Russian may have up to 50 forms, and that depends on the context, on the other words in this sentence. So it is a very common trouble for foreigners. And for example, stress. In Russian, we have a word tanцы and танцевать as a verb, tanцы as a noun, and танцор as a person who dances. And in these three words, the stress would be take another position. And because of it, we have another vocabulary, another dictionary for knowing the place of word of stress in the words. Well, and the same trouble is in the sentence. The word order in sentence in Russian also isn't stable. That is why we have a lot of variants how to say the same phrase. For example, I found one information. I just haven't checked all 120, but people who studied that, they say that one sentence of 5 words may have 120 variants of word order. For example, редактор вчера внимательно прочитал рукопись. The exact word order, and we may change these words in 120 variants. Прочитал рукопись редактор вчера. Вчера прочитал рукопись редактор, and so on. That is the problems.
That's why we struggle with it, because in Russian here we have many variants to make word structure in the sentence, while in English we should put it in a definite order, and it's mistake for many Russian students learning English, because from the very beginning we have accustomed to be free in how we put words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from one side we are pretty free about that, but that is because in a little child, while growing in the surrounding of his native language, takes all this information naturally, and we don't think about the difficulty. But for grown-ups, the process is a bit different, and for them, all this variety and freedom is pretty difficult to understand and to remember all these variants.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, Irina, I guess we need to finish soon, because guys are discussing cars already. I see in our chat. So maybe
by the way, learning a language is we may combine, we may compare with car driving, and about the question how make it quickly and very quickly. A man should remember that he can't teach car driving in one day. and just knowing, for example, the buttons of this car. He should know the rules of traffic. He should know a lot of different things, including technical things, to drive a car safety.
Mm-hmm. But at least you told about 60 hours to reach some basic level, to speak some phrases already. And also we discussed some methods how to learn it in a more effective way. And also there are some applications too. Of course, they are not so effective like when you study it with a personal teacher, but you still can use them and to speak at least some Russian by your visit. But at any rate, studying any language is not a quick process. Yeah, and it requires time and efforts, and time, of course, too, because it's impossible to learn Russian just during 1 week. But before you visit to Ukraine, you can study at least some phrases in Russian or even in Ukrainian. And when you speak it, tell it to your lady. She will, in most of the cases, she will be amazed. She will be surprised, and she will be pleased that you try to learn her language, and it will add you some bonuses on the dates, because it's like a respect to our culture, it's like an interest to your lady, and of course it will be useful for you. You don't need to know thousands of words, but at least some basic phrases you can learn easily.
I may add something about the very quick way to learn.
What, Irina?
May I add something about the very quick way to learn?
Sure. Yeah.
The main problem which faces a person before coming in a new country with a new principal new language is a stress which he feels in unknown surrounding. That is why we have a very intensive mind-burning course of 15 hours. The main purpose of is to reduce the stress and prevent it before a person comes. So it is very helpful, and in this case, a person has at least 300 new words in the language of the country he is intended to visit.
Mm-hmm. So Barry asks us, do the two of you agree that it's important to learn the Russian alphabet completely in order to be able to pronounce the words correctly, hence allowing one to read easily? Yeah, I would agree, because alphabet is where you start actually, but in Russian it's quite tricky because you can see like letter O in Russian alphabet, but in some words it's pronounced like R. And so there are many tricky things in Russian. So Irina, what would you say?
Yes, of course, because see, the thing is, you can't read Russian text with Ukrainian with English alphabet. So first, one has to know how these letters are read.
Yeah. Or the other way how children are learning Russian when they are born in Russia or in Ukraine, and they hear words from their parents. They don't know letters yet, but they are speaking Russian already. But it happens because they are in this country from the very beginning. They can speak it. But I think that if you are adult, and you need to know the basics and of course letters to start. Again, because studying Russian from words, it's like just several words to tell, but you don't understand the logic how they were built. So if you want understanding language from the very beginning, you need to know alphabet. And also, Pipipu asks us, how often do you do live streams? We do it each Wednesday at 8 Kiev time, and we are discussing different topics. Before I did it myself alone. Now I started to invite interesting guests to our and answering why I invite exact guests, because usually I choose specialists who are good in what they do, and it happens according to your questions, to usually what man asks me about. For example, they ask me about studying Russian language, about how to dress well for date, and also about real estate in Odessa too. So I'm planning to invite this type of professional to our next live stream, probably. So Pipu asks, are they feminine and masculine difference like Spanish? I guess in Russian. Yeah, he's asking about Russian.
Yeah, it differs. In Spanish, we do have two genders, feminine and masculine. And in Russian, we do have three genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter. So it is a little bit more difficult than in Spanish. Yeah.
But
And
we also have, like in Spanish, we had, remember, we also have in Russian different endings for female and male, but we don't have it in English. Yeah, different endings.
different endings, yes.
Depending.
And we can have different endings for nouns. We usually have different endings for pronouns, for adjectives, for verbs. So be ready to learn all of this information. It is very interesting. It is very interesting, all that senses, all that shade of senses. It is one of the very interesting thing about Russian language and Ukrainian language also. Every word may have a lot of shades of sense. And working with language, while we're learning a language, we always have a deal with sense of the words and what do we mean. And in Russian, in Ukrainian, we have a very, very very little sense may differ and have another word for this kind of sense.
So Pipu asks who is coming next time. I mentioned about real estate agent, maybe because many men clients asking me about buying apartment or house here and how much it costs and so on. So maybe we will discuss it next time. Maybe someone else. At any rate, I will give you information in advance about it on our channel, and you can join if the topic is interesting for you. So Solomon asks us, do different parts of Ukraine use their own type of slang words in their language? Like for myself in England, people in the north and south use different words for certain things.
Yes, yes, of course. A bit different language we do have in the center, in Kiev and some others and other cities. Some different, again, shades of culture, of history. And that is why some different nations in history came here through this part of the country and have left their step in culture, in language.
The biggest difference is that the Russian language is mainly used in Odessa. Most of people, they speak Russian, but if you go to the eastern part, yeah, to Lviv and other such cities, and even Kiev, many people speak Ukrainian here. So if we talk about slang words, yeah, they are kind of different, but the biggest difference is that many people here started to use Ukrainian language already. And if you go to village, most of villages, they speak Ukrainian language. Correct, Irina?
Yeah, right you are.
Not Russian. Yeah.
Often we have in some countries a mix of Russian and Ukrainian. It is very common through the country.
Yeah, and I remember the time after 2014. It seems to me when there was a conflict between Russia and Ukraine. There were many funny situations, and people discussed it a lot when our politicians tried to speak Ukrainian, but in fact they were not accustomed to it, and they also had some funny stories of mixture of Russian and Ukrainian, maybe not so. They didn't have a habit to use it, so there were many funny stories about it. And because actually before it, people were not so didn't have so much aspiration to speak Ukrainian. Many spoke Russian, but according to political situation, things changed, and now many people speak Ukrainian just because they support Ukraine this way. They think.
Because we do have a lot of culture in Ukraine, in Ukrainian language, by the way, and especially music very increases its level lately. So it's most popular Ukrainian language in our country.
So, Irina, can we finish already, or you have something to add?
Yes, I think if we don't have some new questions, we may finish.
So, dears, if you have some questions to ask, ask us now, and we will finish. I hear that Solomon asks. I hear that the older generation do not speak English that well, but the younger generation speaks better English. However, from the profiles I see, this is not true.
I don't understand about the profiles, but still the common situation is that people older than 40, I think, less know English. But the younger people, for them, English is very often the second native.
Yeah, I noticed myself too that even my children, they have English from the first grade in school. We didn't have it when I studied even, and our parents even less. And if we look at the books of previous generation who is 40, 50, 60 now, of course they had less information on good English and they didn't study it so well. But I guess young people at 20, they speak English, many of them. But again, it's difference between speaking English and just studying it at university. And I'm also often asked this question by men. They want, sometimes they say, I want to find a woman who speaks English the same way as you do. But I also answer that many of our ladies, they studied English in university or school, but they don't speak this language so quickly because they don't practice it. So they can know basics of English or maybe even intermediate English, but they can't speak if they don't have practice every day. It will be difficult for them in the very beginning to speak quickly. But in time, they will learn, especially if they studied it, there are all chances for success. They just need to practice it. So if you will fall in love with this woman and she will fall in love with you, you practice it together and it won't be a big difficulty for her to remember her English from school or university. One more question. It's impossible to translate English to Russian on the fly. You need to think in terms of the language you are trying to learn. Wouldn't you agree? You have to learn the language as a child would. Agree, but Barry, depends on the again on your goals. Because some men, when they come here, they just want to speak some, to tell some phrases in Russian, and someone who is like you, who wants to understand the from Russian from the very beginning, to understand the culture and so on, then you are right. Just there are different people and different approaches for each of them. What do you think, Irina?
The methods for adults are a bit different, like for children. For children, usually the teachers use some games and start with it because without a game, child couldn't understand. He still doesn't have some brain possibilities for just understand. He needs it in the game. But as for grown-ups, we should say that different people and different ages have their own and personal possibilities to take the information, and grown-ups have their own personal channel of taking the information. So that depends very much from the age also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Solomon asks, I hope that I will be able to speak some Russian when I arrive to Ukraine so I can impress my future ladies on the dates. Yeah, good idea, Solomon. Let me know about your results then. I'm curious. So, dearest, let's finish here. And Irina, thank you a lot for joining us today, for sharing information from your experience and telling about yourself, your methods, how you did it. And we can finish now. Maybe you want to add something.
Yeah, thank you, Elena, very much for inviting me for the stream. It was very interesting to share with you some information, answer your question, to answer question of our watchers. So thank all of our watchers to watch us. And я желаю всем успехов в изучении русского языка.
Thank you, Irina. And we finish. And let's meet next Wednesday at 8.